Another surprise from KTM for 2020, they just launched a KTM 890 Duke R. So they already had the 790, why should they build an 890? I don't know, but this bike looks very cool. It looks racier than the previous model, than the 790. And I know it's more powerful right now. It comes with 15 horsepower more, around 120 horsepower, and it weighs 3 kilograms less. It's pretty amazing that they managed to do that. I know there are changes inside the engine. So this one over here, it's Euro 5 compliant right now, and it also produces a bit more torque. So this is very helpful for city use, and mainly being an R for having fun on track. I want to get on a bike, I want to see what's changed, because I've seen this part over here, it's a new set of brake discs, new set of calipers. This brake pump over here that comes with a lot of adjustments, but I want to see how it feels while sitting. The position seems a bit different, the ergonomy is a bit changed. It's more sportier, more engaging right now. And from what I'm seeing right here, this suspension is fully adjustable. That means this machine will do a great job on track. Man, it feels so nice. So the frame is not changed. The differences in the engine are pretty small. Why the guys at KTM need an R, I don't know why, but I kind of like this machine. It feels very, very good just by sitting on it. I think it's close to a race bike. It feels very nice.
The engine is bigger, so we've gone from 105 to 121 horsepower. We have 99 newton meters of torque at the moment. One of the things we've done is we've worked a lot on the rideability. So we also increased the weight of the crankshaft a little bit to give it that, at lower RPM, give it that little bit of more oomph, so it doesn't stall as much. This is not a bike for the city. This is.
I can see the tires, I can see the suspension.
Exactly, you can use it in the city, but that's not what we aimed it for. With the 790 Duke, all of the development was aimed at making it the best bike for the country roads, like really the scalpel, like tight, twisty roads.
Exactly, yeah.
This one is still as good as the 790 is on the twisties.
This became the super scalpel right now.
It's the super scalpel, the evil twin of the 790 Duke, we call it. But we did a lot of our testing on the racetrack with this one because we really wanted to up our game a little bit. So it's not the same as the Duke with adjusters. It's a completely different suspension system. Outer fork tubes are different. The whole inner cartridges are different. So there's a lot more adjustability. It's a lot stiffer. It's a little bit less comfortable, but that's the you wanna have focus.
Exactly. If you wanna use it at the maximum, you have to work with the suspension.
This bike has the power part brake discs on, but on the standard bike we have 20 millimeter bigger brake discs using the Brembo Stylema calipers, and we've got the Brembo MCS brake pump. And with the MCS pump, you can change the feel of the brake.
I've seen that it has some adjustments over there.
As if you would change the size of the piston. I mean, you can't actually change the size of the piston, but it's very close. So you can really change the feel of the brake and really the controllability of the brake. You can set it to 3 different levels. We worked on improving the whole quick shifter logic, but also on the ABS side and the traction control side. There's a new sensor in the bike. There's a 6D lean angle sensor, so it can actually detect drift of the bike, front wheel, back wheel lift up. So we can actually, what we've done is we tried to give more control back to the rider. Our ABS guys told me we're not acting later, we're just giving you more feeling.
Yeah.
So it's just more gradually, the modulation of the ABS and the traction control is becoming more gradual. It's not the same bike, so the price is a little bit higher. But I think if you look at the package you get for this bike,
yeah, it's definitely
worth it. This is really at the top level of equipment that you can get in this segment.
So now let's speak about the bigger brother, the bigger Duke, because just here, a few changes made over there, not a few.
This is a new bike. So where the 890 Duke R, we made a lot of changes to the 790 Duke. This is a new motorcycle. We have taken every single component of this bike and looked at it. The chassis is completely new. That means swing arm, frame, wheels, suspension, all the bodywork, everything on this bike is new. There's a few components in the engine that have stayed the same. Other than that, everything is new. Euro 4 compliant. This bike is Euro 4, but all the components on it are ready for Euro 5. So the homologation this year is Euro 4. Next year it's going to be Euro 5.
So people won't get that exhaust?
No, that exhaust is only for the track. The whole concept behind the SuperDuke was to make it, it's not a super sport bike with the fairings removed. This is a naked bike from the ground up. So we want to have something that's usable on the street, usable, rideable, and like really delivering all the fun, but at the same time become a better track bike. So part of what we did was, I spoke to some of the test riders, and the whole idea was that everything that makes it a better track bike, we put in, if it doesn't change the performance on the street. So it had to make it also a better street bike. So every time they made a change, the idea was, okay, is it better on the track? Yes. Does it make the bike worse on the street? No. Okay, go, let's do it. For example, the swing arm is much stiffer than the old one. And the question was, do we need that stiff swing arm on the street? No. Does it change the performance on the street? No.
Only on track.
Does it make it a better track bike? Yes. Okay, go, let's do it. So these things were...
Everybody's getting closer to 200 horsepower. Why did you guys left it with 180?
Because we have 140 newton meters of torque.
That's for sure, but I think also the kilograms are talking for themselves.
Yeah, 8 kilos lighter.
8 kilos lighter right now. Okay, that's a proper machine to race on a superbike race, actually.
As I said, our target is to make the ultimate street naked bike. It's not the idea to get a super sport bike or super bike, take the fairings off, put a white bar and say, now it's a naked bike. This bike was built for riding on the street.
Will it stay with the same numbers if you put the Euro 5 compliancy on it? It will get less horsepower, more kilograms?
No, pretty much the same.
Pretty much the same?
Because all the hardware is already on board. So we're not going to, for Euro 5, we're not going to change any hardware. So the exhaust, the injectors, everything's the same.
So everything in the numbers compartment, like the horsepower and the weight, will still be the same after you put the Euro 5. That's very important because people are thinking right now this is a show-off bike. And
no, it was our goal to go for the 180 horsepower, the 140 newton meters. This is the whole thing about riding on the street, is using that torque, shifting one gear up and just let the torque do the torquing. So the engine itself, the major components of the engine are the same, but we had to change. We're about 800 grams lighter on the engine because we changed some of the internal oil routing inside the engine, and we had to adapt to the linkage system. But the engine as it is comparable to the old model. And on this bike we have the Pro Component suspension, which is at a much higher level. But the standard suspension that's on the bike was developed specifically for the bike, but it was not, especially the front fork, was not completely new development. The rear shock is new because we now have the linkage suspension and no longer the direct suspension on the swing arm.
Were you tempted to use electronic suspension on these bikes?
We're looking at it. But it's not coming in the short term. But of course we have the semi-active suspension on the GT and on the Super Adventure. And at the moment we're really working on making a semi-active suspension that will work on racetrack level performance.
Okay, so
but
is
not,
it hard to do that?
If you have KTM standards, if you want to make sure that it really works to the standards that we have, yes, it's hard to do. This suspension is available as a power part, yes. It's not cheap.
Do you have a figures or not yet?
18,000?
I don't have the price at the moment, no.
So this whole package looks very good, looks very promising, and I know for sure that the Scalpel was very nice to ride. This is the Super Scalpel, so it should do a bit better. And there's another cool thing about it, it's just the price, because everything comes down to a price. This one is around 700, so less than 1,000 euros. more expensive than a 790 Duke. But you get new brake discs, you get a new brake calipers, new brake pump, you get a suspension that's fully adjustable, and in regards of looks, there are not big differences, but I know for sure this one is the one to have if you want to have fun and race.